We're learning from Lavina a little bit more of the backstory of the historical events you were introduced to in the intro movie. We're going to start to learn about the motivations of Soul Keepers, what has happened in the world here, and what we can do to help.
So, again, the Soul Keepers are influenced by the history and this battle between the gods and the giants. We've said it many times because
it's important.
It influences pretty much everything.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we have to say it a lot.
Yeah.
But there's this corruption that spread from the blood of Ymir.
That's right. When Ymir was killed, as you saw in the intro, his blood spilled upon the land. It caused a sort of roaming corruption. And now we see that some of the gentle forest spirits have been corrupted. So Lavina has tasked us twofold. She's asked us to put some of these poor spirits out of their misery so they might find peace, and also to begin our first steps to becoming a fledgling Soul Keeper.
So I'm just saying that those non-corrupted spirits were actually ganging up on that
I
one
saw
corrupted
that
spirit.
actually.
I'm not sure that's fair. Like, Joe's between Earth spirits, man.
Yeah, life is hard sometimes. So if you keep an eye on when we're dispatching these mobs and monsters, you'll see a little something pop when I do manage to dispatch them. When I do and don't wipe, boom.
Just a soul.
Just a soul. Just not any ordinary soul, Chris, a chaos soul. A symptom of the corruption, this historic contamination that resulted from Ymir's death, and something that we as Soul Keepers are tasked with tackling and resolving.
So that sort of feeds into one of the key systems we're going to be introduced to.
Yeah.
And we'll quickly talk to Lavina because she's going to really kick us off on it.
Yeah, she's introducing us to our Soul Keeper training. Aww. So as discussed, we're going to be introduced to the soul system. This is the soul in Echo of Soul. So as you'd imagine, it's fairly key. When we
get past the tutorial.
When we get past the tutorial and perform our own tutorial, when you gain these chaos souls from the vanquished corrupted spirits, there's a way you can put them to use. Now, first of all, for soul purification, you will need to be in the vague proximity of a soul sanctum, such as this one. You'll see these dotted all over the world, from the biggest towns to the smallest sleepy hollows. You'll be able to find one. When you're standing in proximity to one, you simply open your soul satchel. You observe your number of contaminated souls, and then
you purify.
Boom! Chivo!
So that's our first purification. And you can see right off the bat that our souls have been purified into 4 states.
Yeah.
So again, if you think that like each soul has its unique attribute, say maybe I'm a little more hopeful than you, and you're a little more innocent than me.
Oh,
were we corrupted by the blood of Ymir? And our souls were purified. I turn into a soul of hope. And you turn into a soul of innocence.
Yeah, so moving swiftly on, we'll come back later on. We're going to see a few of the systems whereby the purified souls can be used to the benefit of a Soul Keeper. There's just a couple of points we're going to cover before we move on.
And what I was saying by that was it's random.
Yeah, it's random, not a personal comment.
So again, there's benefits to purifying souls at the best opportunities.
Yeah.
So pretty much if you come across a soul sanctum, you want to be purifying your soul.
There's no reason you wouldn't, I suppose.
Partly because you can hold more purified souls than you can chaos souls.
Absolutely. You have a capacity for 4,000 purified souls, whereas your capacity for the more volatile chaos souls, it's down at 275. So you're going to be missing out on, as we'll show you the benefits later on, you're going to be missing out on a lot of a buff, a lot of experience, a lot of things that will help you if you're not purifying frequently.
So that's basically your first step, right? And we'll keep it simple. There's one other way Soul Keepers can purify souls.
That's right.
And that's with a friend.
Yeah, exactly. When we start to get fledgling Soul Keepers in through the doors on May 4th, we'll be able to show you that in effect, but unfortunately, we have a dearth of Soul Keepers at the moment.
We're all by ourselves today.
Oh.
So basically, if you ask another Soul Keeper to purify with you, it's co-op purification.
Yeah.
There's a quest that Lavina wants to give us for it.
Yeah.
And that means that you can purify anywhere on the map.
Yeah, you don't need to be in the proximity of a soul sanctum. The energy of the two Soul Keepers' souls combined to negate that need.
Purifying by yourself is difficult. It takes a stroll. If you've got a buddy, You can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's great.
That makes sense.
There is one other benefit, though.
Yes, there is. When you purify alone, you're purifying 2 Chaos Souls to 1 purified soul. Now that's good. I mean, it's okay. When you're purifying in a co-op mode, you're getting a 1-to-1 exchange rate. Because there's 2 Soul Keeper souls purifying them, you get a 1-to-1. So your 2 Chaos Souls here will become 2 purified souls. It's literally twice as effective.
Super effective.
Click.
Moving on from that, we've got one guy to stop off, and one more thing that we really want to tell everyone about, and that's what you can do with your soul skills.
That's right. We're going to learn our first piece of advanced soul keeping from Garmel.
He's an advanced soul keeper.
That's what he does. So we're going to be introduced to the soul skills. One of the coolest systems in the game, one of the coolest ways to use the purified souls. So as we mentioned, the souls are being purified into 4 different aspects, randomly being assigned to either hope, innocence, courage, or peace. Using these will allow you to apply an extra buff, an extra effect to your character.
So, from what I gather, there are buffs that specialize in boosting your defense. That's the Shield of Innocence in this case. But you also have buffs that boost your attack. So Flame of Courage gives you an attack speed boost. It gives you an attack damage boost. It gives you a casting boost. So if you're trying to put out as much DPS in as short time as possible, that's your go-to spell. If you're having trouble tanking a boss fight, or you're having trouble surviving a solo dungeon, then you want to move for the Shard of Innocence or the Shield of Innocence because it gives you the ability to tank that extra damage. I mean, do you want to quickly just show us them? Because
okay, it's going to be the easiest way to understand them. So you select whichever one it is. At the moment, we have more courage than the other one, so I guess we're going to pop that one. We slot it. It will be on your ability bar, the default T, and then boom.
So apart from popping another achievement, you can see the effect of this. And this is similar to what we saw when we were fighting Diamond, right?
Yeah, we were having an introduction unbeknownst to us to the world of soul skills.
But the wings were bigger.
Yes, that's right. As you can see here as well, like crafting like your own character, the more that you use these given buffs, the more that they will level up. So if you're using the Flame of Courage a lot, the effect will increase over time. You will level it up to 5 times. So though we've got kind of titchy wings to begin with, you'll end up seeing quite a large buff because it's having quite a large buff.
Okay, so, and that's something that, because it's visualized, you know that if a tank spawns blue wings in PvP, he is going to be unkillable for a reasonable period of time. So either everyone focuses him or you switch targets. And the nice thing in particular is these can either complement or offset your skills.
Right, you can double down on something or you can diversify. You mentioned the Shield of Innocence and a tank popping it. Obviously he's going to be super tanky, but if you're running a rogue or a sorceress and you get into a bit of trouble, you pop Shield of Innocence for yourself and you get a significant boost of defense. Will get you through boss attack, get you through a sticky situation.
And something that's pretty cool is that these soul skills, they're also used in some of your abilities.
That's right. Yeah, when you get to the highest level, and I guess I don't want to give away too much.
No.
But we'll just say in vague terms that when you get to later levels in the game, there'll be skills that can take on an aspect of these souls. So you'll be able to imbue your skill with an aspect of hope, an aspect of innocence, and depending on the skill, depending on the class, and depending on the spirit aspect, it will have a different effect, a different buff on top of that skill.
So it might reduce the cooldown, or it might make it deal a lot more damage. So say if we use the Flame of Courage on our super skill, as it were, then we'll deal a lot more damage.
Exactly, they're thematically linked to what they are. One other thing we didn't mention because it's super cool, each of these, in addition to their stat boost, they'll also give you an experience gained boost. So while you're using these, you're gaining more experience, you're leveling them up, you're doing more damage or taking less damage. They're a really huge part of Echo of Soul. They're one of the biggest systems in the game. It's going to be really important for you to keep an eye, as we said, continue to purify your souls, continue to use them, level up these skills. If there's one you're not particularly fond of and you find yourself never using Shield of Innocence, you can use the Soul Expert hobby to transform them into usable, sellable items. There's no way to lose with the Soul system.
So it's just Echo of Soul skill.
It is Echo of Soul, pure skill.